The underbelly, an endless liminal expanse of tunnels and pipes that belong to the underground systems that keep society functioning. Subways, catacombs, sewers, any structure created to deal with the waste of society and keep it moving. Few know exactly how to enter the underbelly. In fact, most of who find themselves there do so by accident. All it takes is to take a wrong turn poking your nose where it doesn't belong below ground. One fast food executive, however, found himself in the underbelly searching for answers. There are many questions that may never have an answer. What's the meaning of life? Is there life after death? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? Among those unanswerable questions was one that stood above the rest. One so shrouded in mystery that among every scholar and philosopher who came across it, none left with an appropriate response. Who the fuck actually eats at Long John Silver's? Even the absolute shittiest restaurants infect the one person willing to give them a shot with food poisoning every once in a while. This exec had never seen a single person enter one, so how the hell was he getting paid? Was Long John Silver's just one big money laundering operation? And if so, where was the money really coming from? He began to have trouble sleeping at night, with images of crack kingpins, human trafficking, and hamster prostitution. He needed to know. Looking to the internet for answers as his chronically online ass often did, he saw he was not the only one wondering this. He was looking for someone claiming to have eaten at the restaurant of his employment, but all he saw was more people looking for people claiming to have eaten there. He was at a dead end. In attempts to explain how they survive as a business, the executive at LJS searched everywhere for a possible market of where they got their customers. While watching the iconic LJS Dr. Norman Big Fish commercial, it finally hit him. What if people aren't what's eating there? Long John Silver's is a fish restaurant. Yes, that means it serves fish, but that's not all it means. If they couldn't find someone willing to eat at Long John Silver's, they must have found something willing to eat at Long John Silver's. The executive was looking in the wrong place. When your food comes from the water, why look to land for customers? He thought back to a local urban legend, a fishman who was rumored to live in the sewers, feeding on the refuse of the modern world.
Sounds like a guy who'd enjoy some Long John Silver's.
Half man, half fish, with a palate perfectly suited to what the LJS Corporation advertises as food. After taking 17 tabs of acid and watching The Shape of Water in reverse, the executive knew what had to be done. He had to find their actual customers. If there was a place where this beautiful hybrid creature could live and still have access to Long John Silver's, it must have been the sewers. The executive packed a go bag and entered the first manhole he could find. He wasn't well acquainted with the confusing underground structures, so he slipped into the underbelly quite quickly. He hadn't even noticed any of the Lovecraftian changes to the infrastructure, or even some of the peculiar creatures hiding in the shadows. He was a man on a mission. He laid a Long John Silver's fish sandwich combo on the side of one of the fecal-tainted rivers, and waited, and waited, and waited. After a few hours, he dozed off. He awoke to the sound of squelching water and crumpling food wrappers. As he opened his eyes, he was face to face with something inhuman. Half man, half fish, just as the legends described. Even more shocking, it was somehow eating the Long John Silver's sandwich, like it was food. The fishman's gaze was fixed on the sandwich and fries combo, but as the jaw of the executive dropped, they locked eyes. The fishman hesitantly pointed directly at the LJS shirt that the exec always wore under every other clothing item he owned. It must have recognized the symbol from the packaging. It started squeaking a strange chant from its gills, before more and more fish people gathered around it. The executive emptied his backpack, filling the space in front of him with Long John Silver's. The fishmen shrieked in rejoice, leapt to the walkway, and devoured everything the executive had to give them. When they were finished, they all made eye contact with him, and the one in the front extended their hand. The executive took it, and before he knew what was happening, they were whisking him through the shitwater. In moments, he was at what looked like their home, a clearing in the sewer, littered with LJS wrappers. As the fishman moved and bustled about their activities, He got a closer look at them. They had smooth, slippery skin, sharp teeth, bulbous eyes, and a body that looked exactly like what would happen if a fish person were to survive solely on Long John Silver's. Atop this fat neck is a face similar to an anglerfish, with the same sort of flapdoodle that the angler uses to hunt. Instead, they use it to see and carry out tasks that need light. Some were reading, some were writing, some were painting. I mean, everything that they can paint is made with shit, so it's all greens and browns, and they go to this really unhealthy guy's pipes to get red, but still pretty cool. Better than you can paint. The LJS Corporation was able to survive for so long with not even a single human customer because they were supporting an entire fish society. Then, he looked up. He felt like he recognized where he was. The lead fishman again took his hand and led him to a waterfall, where the executive claimed without prompting that they definitely didn't have sex. And then the fishman took him up the waterfall. They went a long, long way. He couldn't breathe and struggled to get free, but the fishman held on. At some point, he went unconscious due to lack of oxygen. He awoke, soaking wet and completely naked, in the very same Long John Silver's he had gotten the sandwiches from.
And that, my friends, is where I've been, and my idea for the future of this company. Also, I didn't have sex with the fishman, if anyone was wondering.
Dave, you haven't been back to work in 2 weeks, and you come back covered in human shit, insult the entire company, and interrupt my meeting to scream about fish people? That took a lot of guts. I think you just might have what it takes to be partner material. Anyone else have some radical new ideas like my main man Dave here?
Maybe it would be easier to rebrand or change the menu.
Anyone else trying to crush my childlike wonder?
How do fish people get money?
My favorite type of comment is the person who completely misses the point of this being a horror story and tries to disprove whatever obviously fake crap that I just made up. Like, they're so far removed that they think they're the smartest person ever, and they think they've figured it all out. It's like amazing. Man is studying ants on the ground while the joke goes over his head. To those people I say, no one has ever been inside a Long John Silver's, so they can't prove it's not full of fish people. If you like this video and want to see more of what goes on in the underbelly, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe with all notifications enabled, or I'll throw you in the sewers. I want to thank Dead Rex for drawing these spooky critters. Shout out the inner circle. Love y'all.